Deleted Station, April 19, 1978. Now, personal fears never exist as a result of personal experience alone. They are always connected with larger belief systems that belong to some extent to the person, and to the person's age as well. Personal Reality, a book Ruber may have heard of, does indeed deal precisely with such issues. No particular episodes alone, though they may seem to do so, ever cause a particular condition, say, of illness, though such episodes may be used as catalysts. Instead, the framework of belief in which the episodes occur has prime importance. Fears should not be inhibited, but encountered, and yet, behind all of them, in your time at least, lies the feeling that the individual is powerless against the conditions of his body or the events of the world. Intuitively, Ruber blazed through such beliefs, intuitively, and his books and mine are evidence of that. Intuitional knowledge and conscious assimilation are some poles apart, at least in your society. Both of you found it quite necessary to take a strong conscious, critical look at the material from the beginning, for your training told you, in the terms that you understood then, that the subconscious could be very misleading, though creative, and that therefore you must critically examine any intuitive productions that profess themselves to stand as truths rather than as creative fictions in your world. Because Ruber was the person most involved, he became in a way the most critical. Therefore, to some extent, he has not been able to use the ideas on his own behalf nearly as effectively as he might. The material in Personal Reality, however, contains psychological and psychic truths. Those truths have indeed, and as of now, helped millions of people. Those people were not involved in such a psychic initiation, however, in your time, so they can, in your turns, afford to use such helpful information, and do not feel any need at all to hold themselves apart from it as Ruber has. If the material does not work, they can always blame Ruber, you see. Now, your friend Tan quite happily gives readings with Ruber's experience behind him, and he says, I simply say, I take no responsibility for what James says. Ruber, however, takes the responsibility for what I say. In that regard, he becomes overly conscientious. We have never told anyone to do anything, except to face up to the abilities of consciousness. Because of that attitude, however, and because of the critical, or rather overly critical stance, he has held himself more aloof than necessary from using the material itself. The ideas, for example, in Personal Reality are exactly those that will resolve his doubts and remove his fears, and the techniques given do work. There are other reasons, however, that have added up to a feeling of powerlessness on Ruber's part in regard to his physical condition. Both of you have a tendency to concentrate upon the ills of the world, and so that applies also to the male, for you remember the laters of those who are in difficulty far more than other laters. And Ruber thinks that he is simply one more person with a problem that simply cannot be solved. He is himself a person who brought about a vital breakthrough in his own knowledge, an acceleration of creativity quite extraordinary, that led to these sessions, and these sessions have literally expanded the realities of many, many people. His abilities and powers of concentration are not ordinary. He has, however, thus far not nearly utilized the information that he has, and in the meantime he became frightened that his will had little power to change the course of events. Your pendulum sessions have been of benefit, and one reason is because they represent a united, joint, and determined effort on both of your parts, and Ruber feels your support. He therefore feels less lonely in his efforts. The subconscious is, of course, a hypothetical term that stands for the portions of the self at which normal consciousness and the source self meet. There are really no hidden beliefs. The pendulum method is simply a technique that is effective because of your beliefs and brings to light your own quite conscious ideas, those that you might not approve of and so conveniently appear to forget. In those terms, the so-called subconscious has your own concept of the body. There is, however, a body consciousness that carries on more or less automatically, seeking health, expression, and the full vitality. Its power comes from the source that gives it its life. You must understand that basically, both body and mind are mental. You are dealing with translations of impulses, beliefs, and feelings into flesh, which in itself is composed of consciousnesses also. It is difficult to verbalize, but your question, why doesn't the subconscious know when to stop? If its defenses actually become too dangerous, its act in too limited a framework. Though I understand your concern and what you mean, the self knows it has many lives to live. It knows no limitations that. The body and mind are one, and in that unity, regardless of appearances, one is the materialization of the other. However, the source self always attempts to send new information, inspiration, or whatever help is required. The personality, each one with its own challenges, will seek to solve its problems in its own way. The source self, sending out all assistance that it can, will still not attempt to override the conscious personality, for such actions would ultimately deny the conscious personality its powers of decision and control. Your immediate situation and all past ones, regardless of personal fears, which should not be discounted, result from Ruber's until now determined decision to stand critically apart from his intuitional knowledge. The knowledge, in other words, consciously assimilated and used, can solve any of the personal problems. Before I continue, I would suggest that if others use personal reality like a Bible, Ruber could at least take it seriously. He does not like people to speak of the book in that way because it arouses, of course, thoughts of those who followed any dogmas without using common sense. Dogmas that blindly led people into further feelings of powerlessness. Both of you are critical enough. I would most heartily suggest then that Ruber use that book. Now, in the past, I have not emphasized it. I want his beliefs written out. I want all the exercises done that he tells others to do. And I want both of you to consider your beliefs about the world as beliefs. Do not accept them uncritically, as there you do. I want you both to discuss together the ideas in the book, and to literally begin a program in which your purpose is to put those ideas to use where you need them. Ruber's mood of powerlessness must be broken, and you can help him there. Such a program will have effect in your life also, Joseph. Ruber's fears, again, should not be buried, nor should they be emphasized. But the book will tell you how to handle this. I mean both of you. Ruber is back to writing, which means that he has made inroads again. He has been emphasizing the problem, which adds to the feeling of helplessness. There has been, however, on both of your parts a new determination to do what is necessary, an impetus not to let matters right, and a new quickening at other levels of your own relationship with each other, so that your love for each other in framework 2 is coming to your aid now. Robert's new inclination for house cleaning is an excellent sign of intent and impulse, and your own support marks your own determination. You saw the bodybuilding program. Robert's body is making a valiant effort to readjust and to strengthen itself. When bodybuilders work together, they have guidelines to follow. Their muscles hurt. They are aware of each group of muscles. As Robert's muscles exert themselves, they often also hurt. But there is no one for him to compare his situation to, and because he has not trusted the body, he becomes alarmed. I want the suggestion given again. Then, I can trust the physician within and the ancient wisdom of my body. You each have achievements, but you let these fade in your concentration upon the problem. This session can indeed be a turning point, if you accept it as such. The point of power is in the present. Understand that for this session can indeed be a turning point, and you can both determine that this be so. There is nothing else to prevent it. End of session. Ross said okay. They said and I found good evening.